I felt all right when I started. Let's try again.
No! Oh! Guys, this is Josh with J Show Horror back again. Today I want to talk to you guys about the complete 4th season of Buffy. Now this will have tons of spoilers for the season, so if you've never seen this show, check this show out. It is on Hulu, so you can definitely watch this show. Now for me, this is definitely one of the weaker seasons of Buffy. From my memory, I thought I loved this season. I thought this was one of my favorites, but watching it the second time around, I kind of did see a lot more flaws in this season than the previous couple seasons. I still enjoy the season. I love these characters. I love spending time with these characters. Now this is the season where it is set in college. I do like the college setting, but it feels like after like the first half of the season, they kind of don't really care about the college setting. They spend a lot of time at Giles' house and all that. And this is the last season for Seth Green as Oz, and I do think the way he leaves the show is kind of a mediocre way to leave the show. I almost rather see him like get killed off in a courageous way or something. He just kind of comes back late in the season then leaves again, so I thought it was kind of weak how they left off Oz. And then Buffy and Riley's relationship. Riley is okay. He just definitely is not as good of a character for me as Angel. This season does feel quite a bit different too because Angel is gone. He's not on the show really no more. He does a couple appearances, and Cordelia is gone too, but that for me that makes sense that she would not hang out with these guys after high school, so that makes a lot of sense why Cordelia would not be on the show no more. Especially towards the beginning of the season, this does feel like a little bit one-off episodes. They introduce the military is involved in this season. Another thing I don't love about the season is the villain. The main villain is Adam. He's like a half demon, half human. For me, he just was kind of probably the weakest villain so far of this series, of the big bad villains. But there is two elements about the season that I love that they carry on. They do have Xander and Anya. They kind of explore their relationship a little bit. Anya was a demon, so she is now human, so she's really trying to figure out what human really is, what being a human really is like. And of course she says she likes Xander, so she thought, hey, let's just sleep together and I will get over you. That's the way she thought, but they end up together, and I really like their relationship that carries on pretty much for the rest of the show. And then they also introduced Tara in this season, and Tara and Willow's relationship, that's one of my favorite relationships on this show. This might have been one of the first lesbian couples of television, but I don't feel like it's forced down your throat. I feel like it's a natural thing that happened on the show because Willow was hurting so much from Oz leaving that her and Tara connected through their witch and their spells. So I thought it felt a little more natural. Didn't feel like something that was thrown in there just to be in there. I have been picking 5 episodes I love each season the last couple seasons, but I only picked 3 this season because there is a lot of middle of the road episodes and a few bad episodes. But the first episode I loved was Wild at Heart. This was an Oz-centered episode, Oz and Willow. Oz starts to get an attraction for a singer of a band, and come to find out she is a werewolf too. And she really wants to bring she likes being a werewolf. She said if it's exhilarating, she loves the feeling of it. And of course Oz always goes in a cage when there's a full moon. And I like their dynamic with Oz and this girl, and then the tension it brings on Oz and Willow. When Oz and this girl are werewolves, I think they sleep together. Oz is really trying to fight the rage in him as a werewolf. I just like the tension going on in this episode. Of course, Willow's acting was really good too. I love Allison Hannigan as Willow, so she was great in this episode. Willow does find Oz and this girl in the cage in the morning, and she just gets torn apart. Willow cannot believe what is happening, and Oz feels really bad, and Seth Green does leave the season for a lot of the season. He does come back for a lot of more of a mediocre episode. I don't like that Oz left, but if he was going to leave the show, I think it should have been a little bit better of an ending, because when he came back for New Moon Rising, he didn't really get a good send-off. I almost think that this episode would have been a better send-off if you never see him again after this episode. But he does end up leaving. He tells Willow he has to go off and do his own thing and figure out what's going on with him. But yeah, overall, Wild at Heart was one of my favorite episodes of this season.
What? Don't you love me?
My whole life. I've never loved anything else.
Another episode I loved was the second part of a two-parter where Faith does finally wake up out of her coma. I was really missing Faith throughout this season. She shows up for 2 episodes towards the in the back half of the season. She wakes up from a coma. This episode ends with them switching bodies. So the next episode, Who Are You? And I really found this episode to be enjoyable. I like seeing when characters are out of character, and I liked when like Buffy was acting like Faith and Faith was acting like Buffy. I thought it was a great episode overall.
The resemblance is striking.
I know, Giles, you just have to stop inching. You were inching.
Look, I know what you're going to say, and
I'm Buffy.
all right, I didn't know what you were going to say, but that doesn't make you any less crazy.
But one of the main things in this episode was, well, it was Faith, but and Buffy's body went to Riley, and they end up sleeping together. And of course, Buffy finds out that he slept with Faith, technically, but Riley said, no, it was you. But overall, this was a pretty fun episode, and just a lot of fun moments in this episode. And it was really good to see Eliza Dushku again. I was really missing her throughout this season. I was glad she at least came in for 2 episodes. But you can't talk about season 4 without talking about Hush. Now, Hush is one of the best episodes of Buffy in the entire series, and I think it's one of the best episodes of television. This is the episode where there is no dialogue throughout, like over half this episode, and the gentlemen, I think, are like the creepiest villains on this entire series. They don't say anything, but they just have this creepy smile and the way they float around throughout the town, and all the music was great too. And there's a few great moments also in this episode. This was the first episode with Tara, so you kind of get the start of Tara and Willow. I loved all that. They kind of hold hands and they put the soda machine or whatever in front of the door while the gentleman was coming after him. Buffy and Riley finds out that about each other. Riley finds out she's the Slayer, and Buffy finds out Riley works for this military that they were trying to find out what was going on with the initiative. And they find out all this without no dialogue. So this episode was amazing. No dialogue, great music throughout this episode. I just loved Hush so much, and it's definitely one of my favorite episodes of this entire series. And I loved how this episode ended when they got their voices back, and Riley and Buffy says we need to talk, but they don't say anything at the end, and it just cuts the credits. Love that. But overall, season 4, I have to give you my honest thoughts. It is definitely one of the weaker seasons of Buffy, but I still enjoy it. Still enjoy these characters. There's a lot of fun episodes, but there wasn't a whole lot of like truly great episodes like season 2 and 3. So it definitely is a little bit weaker, but still love season 4. But it did feel like a little bit more of a chore to get through this season than the first 3 seasons. I'm very excited to watch season 5 again, because from my memory, I loved season 5. So hopefully it holds up from when I watched it 7-8 years ago. And guys, let me know down below if you love Buffy season 4. Tell me some of your favorite moments of this season, and I will definitely be doing a reviews for season 5. See you guys next time.